Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. And the topic for this week is the contour tool. And so let's go ahead and pop onto the Floriani software and learn about a new tool. So the contour tool is up here on your sort of red tool group at the top. It says contour. You'll of course need to select a shape to be able to use it, and let's just zoom in on that F. So when I click on the tool contour, you'll notice that it has several options that you can control. First of all, do you want the contour to the outside, to the inside, or both? And then next is how many ripples or copies do you want? And you can turn that up as high as you want or down as low as you want. Another question would be, what kind of corner do you want? And the options are mitered corners, beveled corners, or rounded corners. You also have the ability to set the spacing, so especially if you're having, multiple ripples, then how far do you want in between each kind of row? And the last question is, do you want to keep your original shape, or would you like the software to remove it? Then just check here. So for example, right now it's set for one ripple to the outside with a mitered edge, and if I say OK, it goes around the letter F, and you'll see it makes a corner that's very pointy, and it kind of almost matches the shape of the F perfectly. If I click on the tool again and I do a beveled edge, then you'll see the difference, because now it'll have kind of like a kind of corner on it here. Let me get rid of the first one for a minute so you can see what it does. It makes the corners kind of like beveled or flattened a little bit. So there they are both together, and you can kind of see the difference. And even if I did it again, and this time we'll do rounded, and so once again the tool's up here, and if I choose rounded and they're all at that same distance to the outside, then this one kind of has like a rounded edge versus a beveled edge or a cornered edge. And so you get to control that. And so basically, if you select multiple shapes, so that was like one shape, but if I selected all of these shapes and then use my contour tool, and again, I say to the outside, and you can choose between, rounded or mitered or whatever, but when you say OK, it now goes around all 5 of those shapes. And if I had multiples, so for example, right now, it's like you got a nice outline around each letter. Well, let's hit undo and select those again. And this time, let's ask for 5 contours or 5 ripples. And what'll happen is it'll go around the first one, and then maybe even the second one, but by the time it gets to the third one, it's starting to, kind of like join the shapes. Can you see that? How, as it became sort of necessary, it joins up the different kind of contours that you create. And so this is a really fun tool to create outlines from. Now, notice that after I created all this outline, it's basically all one shape. If you were to click on it, there's your contour, shape that we just made. And if you wanted to convert that into embroidery and you click on run stitch, well then, yeah, it's going to make a run stitch for all of those kind of pieces like that. But if you wanted to do them individually, if you wanted to take control of each one, then what you can do is use the break apart tool. So when I break it apart, instead of having one shape, I'll have multiple shapes. I'll have one for around the F, and then, there was one that went around the F and the T, and then there was one that went around like kind of the whole thing, and then there's little ones, and each one could be controlled independently of the other one now. So if you wanted the outside one to be, for example, a backstitch, that would make it a little more bold, and then maybe the second one in the row, you wanted to select that one and do it as like a motif line and do something kind of cool in there. And now, of course, you can choose from all of your different kind of neat, motif stitches. And so you can see how you create each row could have its own style of stitching. Anyway, it's called the contour tool, and we didn't look at like to the inside either, right? So if I select, here, let's go back up to this little letter F at the top. If I select the solid F, color in the middle, and I do a contour and I tell it to go to the inside. And so now it's going to do 5 ripples to the inside instead of the outside. And so maybe if I just move the F off over the side here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So it goes around 1, 2, 3, 4, but it didn't make a 5th one because there wasn't room, and so it depends on what numbers you type in. Even if you type in 5 outlines, well, if it runs out of room, it'll only do 4 or however many it can make. And so that is called the contour tool. The other thing is if you select all of the letters like this, and then when you're going to do their contour, if you don't want the solid letters anymore, then you can click on your contour tool. Maybe we'll do ripples to the outside and to the inside, and then get rid of the original artwork. So now we'll get kind of like a whole different effect because it'll have outlines that went to the inside, it'll have outlines that went to the outside, and we don't have the shape, that we actually got rid of the original shapes kind of thing. So you'll find that there's lots of really creative things that you could do using the contour tool. And so we hope that you enjoyed this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. Until next week, have a great day. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.